Hello, thanks for tuning in. I am Lisa J. Stocks. I am here this week without my usual Sunday co host, Prez the Investor. He could not make it. We will give you an update on that. Well, he will give you an update on that when he is ready. Um, so I wanted to just come on in our usual time slot and just give you an update on some things that I had on my mind. So today's live is going to be about smart money habits. Okay, let me go to the comments and see. Hmm, let me see. It says 3 people. Of course, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Sorry, not able to see the chat. Did I do something wrong? Okay. Well, let me get started. Okay, good, good, good. Seems like it's working now. Hi, Tim. Thanks for tuning in. If you didn't hear, Prez will not be here this week, but coming to you with a discussion today on smart money habits. So let's get started with number one. And the first point is pay yourself first. Now, I know we all hear this all the time, but I'm just going through some encouragement that I want to give to my community on a regular basis because I still hear people, I still have conversations with people, and they are selling their investments before they intended to. Let me put it that way, because something comes up, or they're not focusing on building up their emergency funds and being really committed to investing. So the encouragement and the guidelines that we usually hear are to put 10 to 15% to saving and investing, depending on where you're at in your particular journey. So, and as far as different things that are shared, save $1,000, have 3 to 6 months in an emergency fund, have a year. You have to really sit down and dig deep on what your circumstances are. What industry do you work in? If you were to get laid off, how long would it take you to find a new job? How many children do you have? How many other people are dependent on you for the income that you're bringing in? And then from there, you can start to build a plan on how much you need to have invested. And guys, if you're watching me on another platform other than YouTube, come over to YouTube if you want to be a part of the discussion. But thanks for checking out thanks for checking in on the live. So emergencies happen all the time, and I'll tell you, it feels good when you're able to be prepared to not have to run yourself into debt. And like I was saying, it's not a one size fit all thing, but you just have to get started. I would say a good way to get started, like I was mentioning, that first $1,000, if you don't have that, a first full paycheck in a high yield savings account if you don't have that, so that you can truly know. You don't have to say it to anybody. This is just for you to know. I am not living paycheck to paycheck. I have a full paycheck set aside in savings. So, savings is really the foundation, a part of the foundation that I think you need before you can fully be on your way to being committed without any distractions from your investing. Because without that savings, your investing could be uh, sidelines if you have to pull from your 401k or sell your investments, whether they're in a taxable account or whatever, sooner than you wanted. So, next up, I'm going to go on to, well, I've already touched on it, that emergency fund. And I've been setting up I usually have a few accounts. From when I was younger, my mother always had the Christmas club through, our local bank or through her credit union at her job. So, really, that was always a part of my, saving strategy was a Christmas account, a Christmas club, as they called it. And my oldest daughter's birthday is in November, so I always was making sure to save for her birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, kind of all of the end of year things that go on in one account. But nowadays, I hear a lot of people talking about sinking funds. And I know I have my accounts, my high yield savings accounts at Discover, and you can break it down like that. You can have multiple accounts and have a fund for, if you're saving for your next car, car repairs, house repairs, vacation, you can break it out like that, or you can just have one account that you know that you're building for all of these different things. Whatever works for you. Like I said, I don't think that there's a one size fit all for any of the things that I'm going to talk about. But I think there are things that will help you on your way to having a better money mindset and really getting ahead. I'm not one to hold cash. So I've never um, really connected with the whole cash stuffing, especially now the last couple of years with the high yield savings accounts being nearly 5%. I rarely hold any cash. If I need $20, I probably wouldn't have it on me. I would have to go to the ATM and stand and sit in the line at the drive-through or get out of the car because yeah, I don't have it. I'm not one to hold cash. I'm just usually transferring the money between different accounts and love seeing that interest hit. I can see it daily on my investment accounts or, monthly in my regular savings accounts. So let me take a look. So Tim is sharing that he has two emergency funds, first level for car repair, second level for the loss of a job or a medical emergency. Okay, okay. Yeah, there's lots of different ways to break these things down. Oops, I didn't even go vertical, did I? Okay. Just noticing that. Um, but as long as you are saving, that's what matters. And, you're the one who you are the boss of all of these accounts. So if you have to move some from one account to the other, you're the you're the boss of that. But it's just the principle and the consistency of getting it started. So now on to avoiding bad debt and knowing when it's necessary to take on debt. Right now, the only debt that I have is mortgages. And as far as the rental properties, those are paying for themselves, but I do carry a mortgage. My main home that I live in, that is the only thing I really consider debt right now. Um, so I've shared this a few times because I was just shocked when I got the notice in the mail. My Macy's card, the interest rate on it is 34 point something percent, nearly 35%. So when you're taking on debt for unexpected expenses like a car repair, that's one thing. Hopefully you have the savings so that you can use your credit card and then pay it right off. And then if you need to, then build back up your savings, but not putting yourself in the place where now you're carrying 20% interest, trying to dig your way out of an expense that we pretty much all know something is going to happen, whether it's the routine things like, certain, like you need tires or something like that. But certain things are going to go in time on your car. I know it's hard to know exactly how much you have to have aside, but have something put aside so that you can pretty much before your credit card cycle is over, hopefully get yourself out of that particular debt so that you're not carrying it on. But back to Macy's. If I go to Macy's and I buy a pair of boots, even if they are on sale, and I pick up some makeup or something at the Mac counter, do I then want to pay an extra 35% in interest on it? So when you go shopping for those kind of not necessities, I know we need clothing, I know we need certain things, but those are the things I want us to try to save for so that we're never carrying high interest on something that is just not really doing anything to benefit ourselves long term. Keeping the car on the road, I definitely understand that. And even that, I want us to do our best to have savings so that we're not incurring any debt behind it. So, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. If you got in a little late, Prez is unable to make it this week, but I decided to come on, and that's why I was a little late also because I was coming up with a different topic that I could do by myself for today. So, all right, so we just touched on bad debt. Now I'm going to go on to living within your means. And, they always have these expressions like keeping up with the Joneses and stuff like that. And whether it's seeing someone with a more up to date car, someone that's changing their car frequently, going on vacations, having some great seats at the NFL game, and those type of things we can see their posts on Facebook or on social media, and we might feel like, wow, how are they able to afford that when they truly aren't able to afford that? They're putting themselves into debt. We're not seeing what their investment accounts look like. You might be doing so much better in other areas, but they're showing those type of things, and just because they're laying on the beach at a resort, in the long run, what are they doing for themselves financially? I would rather make sure to take the time and save and prioritize those extra luxury things that you want to do. I'm not a person that doesn't feel like, a designer belt or handbag is totally out of the question. It's just a matter of the carrying debt in order to achieve that, in order to have that. That's what I think is just the part that we need to eliminate in our long-term strategy on making sure that we're living within our means. And as far as what's going on in the last few years, I know car insurance by the end of this year, which almost at the end of the year, I heard a news report saying that car insurance is going to be up nearly 22% in this 1 year alone. So it's hard enough trying to keep up with the necessities when the amount groceries and our regular expenses have increased so much, but we have to do our best. And I know most of my audience, I assume we're not young people. We've have established households and mortgages and lots of responsibilities. And it was hard for us to be impacted by all of these increases to our expenses because it's not like we're just starting out is what I'm trying to say. Someone that's starting out and just creating their budget, they would have been making it in line with the prices that we are currently impacted with right now. But I was working off of a budget, and I'll tell you, my budget was completely busted because of it had to be adjusted dramatically as the price of food and insurance and just everything has increased so much. But I have to do my best to, as I'm saying here, as this point is, living within my means so that I'm not always overextended and just not able to ever dig myself out. And that's when you run into that constant using the credit card and you cannot pay it off within a month's time or before your statement closes. So that was point number 4. On to number 5, staying consistent. And I tell you, years ago, when I was at work, I had a credit union that was actually there was an actual location in my building. I have had this twice in 2 different companies that I worked for. And whether they were there physically or not, just having it so connected that I can have it automatically coming out of my paycheck, it made it easy for me. Nowadays, it's we have more simplicity when it comes to everything, whether it's saving or investing. But back then, things were, a little we were just getting started with the direct deposits and all these different things. But what having that credit union did for me was, even if it was a small amount that I was adding to my account, it was coming directly out of my check. It was just taking it out of my hands. And I think a lot of us can use that automation as a way to help us on our journey to build wealth, because you're taking that responsibility out of your hands. You're not allowing yourself to skip your savings or investing if it's automatic. And then, don't make it so easy for yourself that every time you're making the deposit to the other account that you're pulling it out. Right now, I'm using Discover Bank for my high yield savings accounts. And it takes about 2 days for the transfer from there to my local bank. I don't have a card. I don't have a debit card or anything linked to my accounts over there. Only one of them. I have a money market account, but my other accounts I don't, because I don't want it to be easy. I want to, if I'm going to pull money out of that account, it's for a specific reason. Am I doing some extra investing? Did something happen when I had to use my credit card and I put on a substantial amount? I have $1,000 car repair or something like that. And just having those steps in place, or having those barriers in place, will make you n- think things through and not overspend. So be consistent. Make sure you're taking advantage of everything that you can as far as interest rates. They're still better than they have been in years, and they always will be at these high yield savings accounts versus your local bank. That's why it might seem like a hassle to some, but or you might have some reservations about these online banks. You want to physically go to the brick and mortar bank. That's something for you to have to, sort through. But I really think that it is worth it. And I'll give an update one day on I'll put something together hopefully for year end, and I'll share one of my accounts how much interest I have gained and what it would have been versus if I had the money sitting at my local bank. Um, Let me take a look. Hi, Joe. Thanks for tuning in. I just answered your question. Great. I don't know what your question did you ask a question earlier and I missed it? I'm sorry. I'm just rambling on. I'm used to having my co-hosts here with me, but I decided to just keep my regular time slot and come on and do this on my own today. All right. So, yes, those APYs, they're coming down because Jerome Powell has, started to bring down the rates. And so when it comes to that side, our savings rates, the APY on our savings is going to come down. But we had a nice long stretch there. And we knew it wasn't going to last forever if you were in tune with what was going on. So we still need to have some savings. In my opinion, we should always have savings, because that's what's going to keep us in a comfortable place when it comes to those unexpected expenses, because we don't want to have to sell our investments in order to handle that or take on that tax implication. We should have some minimum amount of savings in place. So guys, if anyone is watching me from over on another platform other than YouTube and you want to be a part of the discussion, come over to YouTube. Okay. So now, guys, I am definitely not a tax professional. I don't do my own taxes for myself or for my business. I have a great accountant that I'm connected with. But I wanted to touch on taxes because I highly recommend that you really find someone that you can talk to and that can give you the guidance so that you are in a better place. So, are you getting back a huge tax return, or are you having to pay back a large amount of money? I didn't want to be in any. I didn't want to be in either direction. I wanted it to be as close to a clean wash as possible. I definitely don't want a tax return. I don't want to give the government a free loan of my money. With what we're dealing with right now, whether it's the things I've already been talking about, the increases to car insurance and groceries and our regular expenses, or if on the other end of it, some of the good things like since the election results have come out, for example, Bitcoin is up 30%. Over the last year, a few of my investments that I have been dollar cost averaging into since at least 2021, these three, Amazon is up 31%, Nvidia is up 195%, VTI is up 26%. I want my money here working for me where I can allocate it into these type of things, not sitting not with the government waiting for a tax return. I have priorities and things that I want to focus on. And that's what I mean when I say, what's been going on in your finances for the last few years. Tax season is coming up again in another few months. If you are not in the place where you feel you need to be, take some time to maybe find someone new if what I'm describing is what is occurring in your finances, that you're getting that return or having to pay back a huge amount. Get someone on your side, on your team, that you can properly evaluate that, because I'm striving to get rid of that out of my situation. So, last point, or point number 7, I wanted to touch on. Thank you, Sledge and Joe, Wanga. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. Miss V, appreciate you guys. So, the last point I wanted to touch on, something that I'm always talking about: invest early, invest often, and be diversified. The earlier you start, the more compound interest and the more you have in order to let those investments grow. Make it a habit to invest on a regular basis. Like I was talking about with automation, and not just automation. If you are working for a company that provides a company match, make sure you're taking advantage of that and striving to get to the highest percentage that your budget can allow for. Hopefully, over 10%, striving towards 15%. And as far as diversification, I'm a person that likes to be more heavily weighted in stocks. Um, And right now, I've over the last few years, we have seen how the stock markets have really thrived. I had to physically go get out of the house and go to Fidelity. And while I was at Fidelity, I was talking to someone there, someone that works there, and he was sharing that my portfolio is much more heavily weighted in stocks than his, but he also said that my performance is much more substantial than his. But he wanted to have more of a balance of more exposure to international and bonds, and a lower percentage in the type of investments that I have. But he could see that the investments that I'm currently in are thriving in this current economy. But to each his own. You have to make your own choices on that. And as far as I'm heavily weighted personally in what you would consider the US stock market. But I feel that I'm getting international exposure because companies like Tesla and Apple are worldwide with their sales. But that's just how I look at it, and, um, trust me, I know what I've learned and what I have how I have grown, when it comes to finances and being more in tuned and on top of my investments. I realize that I should have, I don't even know, definitely over $100,000 more in my retirement accounts than I have, because of those years when I wasn't mindful, when I wasn't paying attention to the performance. And I have to just move forward now and do the best that I can in order to create the retirement that I'm striving to have in the future. So, I have my daughter, her account started. I'm trying to talk to her on a regular basis. I know this week our conversation is going to be around dividends and just taking a look at her account. And I don't want to overwhelm her. I don't want to have her sit down for hours and be bored to death with the conversation, but that's also something that I'm incorporating in my household, is that I want her to have an understanding of, um, her investments and the whole concept of it from as early age as possible. She's a teenager already. And, I know a lot of teenagers don't have an understanding of these things. A lot of adults don't have an understanding. I didn't in my 20s. I didn't have an understanding of so many things, including, you know, um, even registering my car, keeping up with so many basic things. We just weren't having those type of conversations in my household. But those are the things that I wanted to touch on today. A recap, we were talking about smart money habits today. So, paying yourself first, focusing on having 10 to 15% of your income going to savings and investing. If you're in a good place with savings, it could all be going to investing. Building up your emergency funds, breaking it down into whatever works for you. If it's going to be multiple sinking funds for car repairs and house repairs and all these different things, Christmas, whatever. Or if you're a person that just needs one account for it all, figure out, what works for you. Avoiding bad debt, living within your means, and not being, at all envious of the superficial things that we may see from the people around us because we don't know the big picture. Staying consistent and evolving with your strategy, because we have had to come into some big changes. Like I gave the example of the car insurance up 22% in 1 year. Many of us did not expect something like that. Um, and especially another huge one I think that we're all facing is uh, the groceries, something that we can't get around, something we all need. I touched on taxes, connect with a good tax professional, and invest early, often, diversify. Let's not keep any of our knowledge to ourselves anymore. Let's teach our children and our friends that are willing to have the conversation. Let's fill the room with those people that want to have these type of discussions, and we can be on this journey to build wealth and be in a better financial space together. So, let me take a look at the chat. When do I think Bitcoin will hit 100,000? Pipeline, I thought it was going to hit 100,000 about 2 nights ago. Originally, I thought it was going to be around, inauguration time in January. But, as the this is closer to when the election earlier this month, I thought by January we would hit 100,000 as opposed to late 2022. I thought around I want to be I was setting up a new account due to this. I thought, by January. Then I tell you, I think it was 2 nights ago. I was looking at my phone. It was 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was thinking by the time I had fallen asleep and woken up, I was like, by the time I wake up, Bitcoin is going to be over 100,000. It didn't. I think how high did it get to 99.5? Let's see. 98, 874, 96, yeah, 98, 8. So yeah, it almost got there. But I don't know. I don't know. I thought we would have been there already, the way things were going. So Tim is sharing that he has been coming back. His net worth was 20K. Tim, how much is it now? Are you sharing that part too? Okay, so guys, I'm about to any questions, drop them in the chat now because I'm gonna be wrapping up soon. I Prez was not able to make it this week, but I decided to make sure to keep my regular 3-ish. I was late, 3:15, my 3 o'clock time slot with something going on my channel. How do you okay, let me look at Denise's comment. That's how I feel. I should have 100K more in my 401k. Just started a Roth IRA. Okay, Denise. Denise, if you're still here, is it because of poor investment choices that you didn't get changed quickly enough that caused you to lose that amount of money, the potential of that amount of money? That's my situation. Okay. Okay, Tim. Thanks for sharing. So Tim has gone from 2013 of a net worth of 20K to over 500K now. Yeah. So I've never shared a full net worth rundown on my channel. I don't think I ever will. But, that's something that you can do for yourself personally. Check out I was actually updating mine, recently, and just 2 properties that I was, running the numbers on, the value is up 400,000. So, um, depending on where you are in your journey, it could be eye-opening in a good way, or it can give you encouragement on what you need to do to get on track. So maybe take the time to list out all of your debts and all the assets and the liabilities, and see where you're at is something that you can maybe do as we're at the end of the year. There's lots of different things that you can incorporate to give yourself some encouragement as we go into the new year. And most definitely, as always over here, uh, don't be don't be held back with feeling like you can't invest and feeling like you can't invest for yourself or for your family members, because you can get started with any amount. I'm not a person that feels like don't feel like you have to have hundreds of dollars, thousands to get started. Get started with what you have, and when you have more, build it up from there. I'm not going to let my budget hold me back when it comes to saving and investing, even small amounts. I will proudly invest any amounts. Yes, congratulations to Tim, and thank you for sharing that information with us. It is a lot of encouragement, and I see Tim really focusing on his options trading and trying to ramp that up and scale that up. It's just something that I've also been focused on over the last few months. Okay. And I also wanted to say Thank you for 4,000 subscribers. I think it was the Sunday before last. I was really close. I thought by the time I would have gotten off live on that day, I would have hit the 4,000. I think I was a few short, but I have made it, and I appreciate all of your support. I'm currently at 4,054 subscribers. And I updated my Nightbot in here somewhere to say on the road to 5,000. So, as I said, um, I will let Prez give you an update next time around as to what's going on with him. He was missed today, and I'm gonna, oh, there he is. Hey, Prez. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm going to wrap it up for today, guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in after the live is over. If you have any video suggestions or things that you would like me to share, please feel free to share to list that. Okay, so Prez is sharing that he is not feeling well, so he couldn't make it today. Thank you, Joe, and Peachy for being members for 3 months. Feel better soon, Prez. Let me know if there's anything that I could do for you. Okay, so that's it. I will see you guys soon, hopefully next Sunday with my co-host, or sometime soon back again with my co-host when he's feeling better. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye.